When does a football game become more than a football game? I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a football game. But there are those occasions, there are those invitations or something like that, those matchups, those matches, those two teams is battling out against each other when you feel this is more than just a game. There is more than just 3 points or a final or World Cup final on the stake. If I'm being honest, I feel England and Argentina feels more than just a game. I think when I think of England and Argentina, I'm not thinking of, you can say, the second best side in the world and the fourth best side in the world facing off against each other. I'm not able to sort of think if Messi and Bellingham are going head to head. Not Messi and Kane. I think Bellingham is the clear face and star of this England team. But I think when I think of England and Argentina, I see the 1986 World Cup. I see that moment between Diego Simeone and David Beckham when David Beckham stormed on him in anger. I think of the Falklands War, of 1982 Falklands War. I see how politically motivated these two teams are when they face against each other. I mean, sure, those things do not come naturally to me. I'm not Argentine, nor am I English. But if as a football fan, as someone who sort of is acquainted with the bit of history that is between the teams, that is bit of bad blood that is between the teams, I would be foolish to suggest that this game is just another World Cup semi-final in the long list of World Cup semi-finals. So if I had to give you a bit of context, in 1982, Argentina and England sort of fought over this island just off the coast of Argentina called the Falklands, which were Argentina had this military dictatorship going on, military rule, and they had young conscripts who had gone on to fight the war. England were obviously the colonialists here, and they had this huge sort of clash, and England won, and but still in Argentina, it was regarded as a win because the youth population stepped up against somewhat rather forced capture. That happened. And then in the 1986 World Cup, when they met at the Azteca, when Diego Maradona came up against Gary Lineker's England, scored the goal of the century, scored the hand of God, that's when you knew Argentina are more than just, they're no pushovers. They care. They actually know when to actually make this game more than just a kickabout between 22 players. So that's what I feel when the World Cup semi-final this time around also sort of hosts England and Argentina. Okay, so now you know what? Let's cut to present day as well. Enough of sort of build up from the past. But I think when you look at these two teams, I'm not looking at a France Spain semi-final sort of level here or quality here. I think these two teams are just tough to beat, right? These two teams have that courage, have that strength and the determination, that grit to go all game long and to win at any cost. Do you think England has been great this World Cup? Do you think Argentina has been great this World Cup despite having the likes of Messi, despite having the likes of Alvarez, McAllister, Enzo Fernandez? I really would like to believe that Argentina are a team more than just Messi and 10 decent players. However, have I been proven right even once this World Cup? Have we been shown something else by Argentina even this World Cup? Was it any different in 2022? Was it any different in 2014 when Argentina reached the finals again, like back in 2014, Messi lost against Germany? It's for the longest time, at least at the World Cup, it's been Messi and 10 decent players. But now when I look over to England, and they are expected to be this tightly knit team who is cohesive, well-oiled, engineered, sort of tweaked to sort of hurt the opposition and make their strengths sort of nullified, or make the strengths rather useless, toothless. But do you really feel that way with England? Do you really feel England as a team stepped up against Norway? I mean, they did against Mexico, and that was a huge win. I think that was the kind of win that transforms a World Cup campaign, like we spoke about. Altitude adjustment. But exactly my point. apart from Jude Bellingham, apart from the brilliance, the genius, the courage, the boldness, the leadership, the pure technical obscenity shown by Jude Bellingham, who else in this English team is the one the rest of the players look up to in times of adversity? Is it Harry Kane? I would beg to differ. I would genuinely beg to differ. I generally don't feel if England are down and out, it's Harry Kane they're looking up to rescue them. I mean, sure, in moments, let's say from the spot, from a free kick near the box, Harry Kane is the best striker in the world. He has the best ball striking ability as well. He can definitely win you games. But what about when games aren't going your way? When the game is a bit, you can say, struggling, when the ball is bouncing around loosely, there is no clear, you can say, consolidator of possession, of momentum. Then players like Jude Bellingham rise up, like Messi rise up. I think Jude Bellingham has been doing what Messi has been doing for Argentina this World Cup, a proper carry job. And that's why I don't rate both of these teams too highly. I don't rate both of these teams to be outright contenders for the World Cup based on what I've seen at this in this summer tournament. I think England have got the job done. They have stepped up where it matters. Yes, they have sort of ridden out storms. They have sort of countered difficult, hostile atmospheres. They have gone through all. Argentina, on the other hand, have stared World Cup elimination not once, not twice, but almost thrice in the face and still cheated them to reach here. That's no joke, and they are the defending champions. If there is a team, if there are teams actually, or sides or national sides who are able to capitalize on moments, who do not necessarily need momentum to sort of steamroll through their game, if there are teams like that, it's England and Argentina. And probably the only difference between these two sides is that Argentina are defending champions. And I really want to stress upon that fact. In the lead up to this game, I know this game is tomorrow, but in the lead up to this game, you see how the English media seems so confident, overconfident in some parts as well. You see how the legends of the game, especially the legends of the game in England, have been speaking about Argentina so lowly, so poorly, almost writing them off. It's Argentina that we're talking about. I mean, yes, it also seems kind of fishy that I'm sort of trying to garner some sort of support for Argentina when I'm wearing their jersey, but I kid you not, that has nothing to do with it. I think both of these teams have been as bad as, they could have been and still reach the semi-finals. That means, as average, as mediocre, as mid. I think this is a mid-off. In the truest sense, I think France and Spain arrive this in rather pristine, prime condition. But I think when I talk about England and Argentina, it's a battle. It's a war. You're not going to get pretty football. You're not going to get 35 long passes sequences and a goal. You're going to get 35 passes sideways, one long ball, goal. That's the kind of game this is. That's the kind of energy and determination, grit this game will require out of these players. Okay, so you know what? Remember what we did for France and Spain, where we tracked their progress through the World Cup? Let's do that for England. Against Croatia, we all saw how England looked unbeatable, looked sort of unmatched in terms of pace, physicality and power, even technical quality. They looked superb. But I think ever since then, they have been brought down to earth time and time again. They struggled against Ghana majorly, I may add. A witch doctor may have done his job. Panama wasn't great, right? Then DR Congo was a huge, massive struggle. Mexico was the one game where I felt England can truly transform the World Cup campaign. But then they went ahead against Norway and showed us the same old England again. Boring, unimaginative, sort of scared, apart from one Jude Bellingham. So England aren't coming into this with this bucket load of steam and that momentum or wind beneath their sails. I don't think England are going to drink a Red Bull and be a different team against Argentina. I don't think so. I haven't seen that yet. Same for Argentina. Again, in fact, I would say Argentina have downward sloping, went down like the hill climb racing that we used to play. I think they've fallen off a cliff since the group stage. They were superb, they were unbeatable, the chemistry was on point, the the you can say the tactics were spot on, the team looked settled, but then came the Cape Verde game where questions were raised. Egypt exposed those problems to a larger degree, and against Switzerland, it was just dire all around. Argentina weren't great, Argentina were slow, Argentina were passive, Argentina were scared. They were scared to play out against Switzerland. Credit to Switzerland there. I'm not saying Switzerland didn't have much to do with that approach from Argentina. I think Switzerland dominated them in nearly every aspect until sort of greatness kicked in some of the best Argentina players like Julian Alvarez with that goal. And that's what I want to say. Argentina are still the team who can capitalize on moments, who can capitalize on, let's say, on waves that are coming against them. They were not expected to score that goal. It didn't look like Argentina were getting out of there with their semi-final spot secured, but they did. They would do anything to win. And I think taking everything into context, taking everything, sort of into consideration, defending champions Argentina are the defending champions. They, as bad as they have been, as sort of confusing their play has been, as unconvincing they have been at this World Cup, reaching the semi-final still is a huge achievement, is a massive achievement. I don't remember, apart from France example, and since the great Brazilian teams of the 60s and 70s, when they used to win 2 or 3 times in a row, when a national side has been able to reach the semi-final just as a defending champions, and still defending champions, and still sort of not being convincing enough and sort of deserving enough for their place there. I'm not saying we should have seen someone of the likes of Egypt or Switzerland in there. I think that would have made the contest a bit more flat, a bit more, you can say, anticlimactic. Although we all love underdog stories, but isn't it just great that the top 4 ranked nations in the world are facing each other in the semi-finals of the World Cup? And then we're going to find out who's the best out of the top 4 in the final. There's a third place match as well, where we might get Spain, Argentina, France, England, France, Argentina, Spain, England. The possibilities are endless. And I think that's what's at stake here. Again, when it comes to games, right? I think if you also read stats, if you also read news in recent days, the game between France and England and Argentina is selling far more, is actually selling like hotcakes than the game between France and Spain. Because they know this is more than a game. This is history at stake. There is a lot of bad blood politically between these teams historically as well. And then you consider the fact this is Messi's last World Cup. Jude Bellingham has been playing the way he is. He is a player of the tournament contender. Now, if there are 2 players to watch out from this game, it has to be Lionel Messi and Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham, I feel, more than Messi, he holds the keys to this game. If Jude Bellingham performs like he has been, if he's allowed to wreak havoc as he has been this World Cup, I think Argentina will have a very, very long night against England. But if he's able to if he's nullified, if he's pacified, if Messi is allowed to roam around and have an effect, have an impact, then I really don't know. Which way the pendulum swings. It's that close. It's that hard to predict, because there is no obvious quality. England, if it has to come down to simply sheer quality, you can say, strength of the team from the bench, from the, you can say, talent pool and everything, I think England wins fair and square and with some comfortable margin. But Argentina don't care about that. Argentina really don't care about that. Argentina really just cares about winning through hook or crook. They have been this way. Name me a game from their great World Cup campaigns where they've reached at least a semi-final or more, where they've had a solid game of football, where they defeated the opposition with such ridiculous ease like France have been doing. Name me one game. If you look at the last World Cup, they were almost out in the first game. They lost the first game. They were almost out by the 60th minute of the second until Messi saved them. Messi's missed the penalty against Poland as well, which sent that qualification again into jeopardy until Julian Alvarez and McAllister made it safe. They almost blew it against Australia. They did blow it against Netherlands, but still managed to hang on. Croatia was that one game which I'm talking about, where Argentina were ridiculously convincing, largely convincing, and gave some sort of, you can say, ease to fans of this Argentina national team. But against France in the World Cup final, when the pressure was high, they choked again. They blew a 2-0 lead and then a 3-2 lead to make that, to sort of, take the best game ever in World Cup history to penalties, where things are different. It's more 50-50. It's actually, the probabilities are just 0 and 1. So Argentina have never been the sort of team who you can rely on for a convincing performance week in, week out, especially at big international tournaments. They just find a way to win. And if there's one team who can probably match them on their determination, on their grinta, it's England. It's Jude Bellingham's England. And seriously, if Argentina are even serious about winning, if any team is serious about winning against England, they have to score first. Like we spoke about weaknesses and strengths of the French and Spanish national team in our other preview. If you have to win against England, you have to score first. Because then, if there's one team in this whole World Cup who is as adept, as skilled, as sort of hardened to protect a 1-goal lead, it's England. We saw that against Mexico. We saw that in such greater effect against Norway. And Argentina do not have that kind of firepower that Norway had, like probably Mexico had. Mexico obviously were disappointing in the second half. But still, England are good at sort of eking out wins when they're not expected to. They are efficient with their play. This is a game. This is probably the game of the round for me. I know there is France and Spain. I know those are the two best sides in international football right now. But if you ask me, this game between England and Argentina, I really can't pick a winner. And certain elements, England are well ahead. But then they have Messi. Argentina have that will to win. And then the conversation becomes tied again. You do not have a clear winner. This semi-final has to be absolute blockbuster. From 1986 Azteca to 2026, where is it? Wherever is it? It's in America. We are in for a banger game. We are in for a stunning game. Do not expect a buttload of goals, or do expect a buttload of goals, because both teams couldn't sort of, get their act together. They were just too open. But expect the finest of the World Cup, the peak of the World Cup in England and Argentina. It cannot be more equal footing. It cannot be more wild. See you for the preview of the finals next.